다른 기회 여러 번 준 거다. 그러니까 네가 다 선택한 거야.
Lee Nami is a modern woman like most people who relies on her cell phone for just about everything. From waking up in the morning to scheduling work appointments, collecting precious memories, playing games to kill time, and binge-watching shows on Netflix, her phone is her constant companion. It's even become a means of earning a living for her. However, what sets her apart from others is her love for getting drunk until she reaches a point of no return. One evening, Nami is out with her friends, enjoying drinks. But as the night winds down, Nami finds herself stumbling onto the bus, heavily intoxicated at a level of 9.5 out of 10. It's on this bus ride home that Nami's world turns upside down when a man steals her beloved phone, leaving her feeling vulnerable and helpless. On this night, Nami is out drinking and singing with her friends. As the night winds down and it's time to go home, Nami is stumbling with a drunkenness level of 9.5 out of 10. Boarding the bus home, Nami's drunken self takes over, causing her to let her cell phone down. In a moment of carelessness, a man snatches her phone away. The next day, Nami is shocked to realize that she has lost her phone. Desperate to find it, she tries calling it, only to have a female voice on the other end pick it up. The voice on the line reveals that she has found Nami's phone and will return it to her. The thought of meeting the kind stranger who went out of their way to help her fills Nami with overjoy. Cut to a scene where a handsome young man, Oh Jun-young, is shown holding Nami's phone and another phone. Although he appears charming, it is evident that there is an underlying mental illness present in him. Jun-young then proceeds to listen to a pre-recorded interactive voice of a woman responding to Nami's phone. He then tries to look for Nami's information on Instagram and notes it down on a notepad, but he can't seem to unlock her phone screen. In a fit of frustration, he slams the phone on the table corner, shattering the screen. As time passes, Nami gets a phone call from that woman informing her, "I'm sorry. I dropped your phone and the screen broke. I left it at a repair shop and already paid. You can just pick it up." Nami quickly makes her way to the cell phone repair shop at the given address. The repair shop sits in an odd location with no customers or foot traffic, occupying a rented room. Before entering the store, Nami notices a sign instructing customers to wear a mask. Jun-young greets Nami as she enters the store, wearing a mask and cap to cover his face. He places her phone on the counter and hands her a repair slip. The slip contains a box for Nami to enter the screen unlock passcode. Without any hesitation or suspicion, Nami enters the code and hands the slip back to Jun-young. With the screen unlock passcode entered, Jun-young successfully installs spyware on Nami's phone and clones all of her data onto another device. From this point forward, everything Nami does on her phone is visible to Jun-young. Later that same evening, Jun-young visits Nami's father's cafe and orders a drink that is not on the menu, a plum soda water. Nami is unaware that Jun-young is the same person who repaired her phone earlier, but her father senses that something is off about him. Throughout the night, Jun-young is able to collect all of Nami's personal information, including her bank account balance, closest friends, and interests. At the end of his note-taking, Jun-young creates a those to cut off consisting of 7 people close to Nami, including 5 colleagues, 1 close friend, and her father. As he continued investigating, G-Man discovered an address that he believed was connected to the murder, where he expected to find his son. Sneaking into the rented room, he found a number of shocking pieces of evidence, including yellow nail polish, clothing, and empty phones, as well as a photo of a young woman and note paper with detailed personal information about the victim. That night, Jun-young visits Nami's father's cafe again and orders another plum soda. However, this time his behavior makes Nami's father extremely suspicious. He warns Nami to be careful around Jun-young, as he seems untrustworthy. Nami brushes it off, thinking that Jun-young is just a customer ordering a drink. Later that night, Jun-young sends a message to apologize to Nami's father, pretending to be Nami. The father falls for the trick and unknowingly downloads a spyware app. Jun-young then sneaks into the father's house and knocks him out with a hard object before tying him up. The situation becomes even more complicated when Jun-young turns off Nami's alarm clock and posts damaging pictures and messages about the boss and the company. This leads to a high number of product returns and the cancellation of a major company event, causing Nami to be fired and the company to go bankrupt. Jun-young has successfully eliminated 6 people close to Nami, including her father and 5 colleagues. Nami confides in her close friend Jeong Yoon-ju. Together, they report the phone hacking to the cyber police, but they are unable to prosecute without evidence. Nami contacts Jun-young, who works in digital security, to check her phone. He discovers that spyware was installed on her phone by someone close to her, causing Nami to suspect her best friend Yoon-ju. After hours of stress, Nami confronts Yoon-ju and asks if she is responsible for everything. Yoon-ju refuses to answer and instead sarcastically claims she did it all herself. She then storms out and tells Nami to never contact her again. Jun-young, who is secretly observing, is satisfied that his plan has worked. Nami enters her father's house and goes to sleep in her room. but is shocked to find Jun-young standing in front of her. She wonders how he managed to get into her father's house. Jun-young then reveals that he has her father attached to the bathtub and that he is almost unconscious. He turns on the water to make her father choke to death. Nami begs him to spare her father's life and offers to do anything in exchange. Jun-young agrees and Nami tries to remain calm. She asks him why he had to do this to her, and he replies, "Because I found your phone." The reason that shocks and confuses Nami. Jun-young then orders Nami to tape her legs and ties her mouth shut. He bursts into laughter and tells her that he will kill both of them at once. Meanwhile, Officer G-Man is driving back to the station when he receives a call that Woo Jun-young's DNA matches an anonymous body found at a reservoir last year. He can hardly believe what he hears as he thought his son had died last year. Officer G-Man immediately heads back to Nami's father's house. Just in the nick of time, G-Man manages to grab Jun-young and save Nami and her father from imminent death. However, Nami's father is unconscious and G-Man's police partner quickly delivers CPR while G-Man throws a punch at Jun-young's face. The psychopath lets out a mocking laugh and confesses to killing Woo Jun-young, setting up the evidence to blame him for the murder. G-Man's anger boils over at the psychopath's words, and he takes out a short-barreled .38 revolver, aiming it at the psychopath's head. But the psycho laughs at him and dares him to shoot. Officer G-Man doesn't dare to pull the trigger. As Nami regains consciousness, she sees her father lying on the ground and feels a surge of resentment. She grabs the gun and fires 2 shots into the psychopath's chest. As the gunfire stops, Nami hears her father's voice saying. She runs to embrace her father with tears flowing down her face. Later revelations show that the serial murderer has no civil registration history because his parents did not report his birth, making him an intangible person with no history.
Hey, top down on the 405. Half hour late, we on LA time.